Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. Today, we're going to cover a couple of things. First, we are going to talk about the Venezuelan conflict in the context of Ilhan Omar and Mike Pence. So, Mike Pence had some choice words for Ilhan. Some words that I'm not exactly sure he thought through completely before he said them on live television. So, Ilhan made some comments about the Venezuela conflict. And when it comes to almost every situation as far as regime change is concerned, she's been getting it right. She's been doing a damn good job when it comes to regime change thus far. Been one of the allies on that front. She spoke out against Yemen just as ferociously as she spoke out against Venezuelan regime change and regime change all throughout South America and Africa. So I want to read to you the article from The Hill. Vice President Mike Pence blasted Representative Ilhan Omar on Friday over her comments warning against U.S. military involvement in Venezuela's political turmoil. During an interview with Fox News, Pence was asked by anchor Sandra Smith why he chose to respond to Omar's claim that the United States helped lead the devastation in Venezuela in a post on Twitter. And he answered, because the Congresswoman doesn't know what she's talking about. He goes on to say, Nicolas Maduro is a socialist dictator who has taken what was once one of the most prosperous nations in this hemisphere and brought it literally to a level of deprivation and oppression and poverty that we have never seen. There's so much wrong with that. But let's continue. He said, I'm not making this up, okay? This is a verbatim quote. All that stuff happened in Venezuela, that's not the result of U.S. policies. Bruh. Oh my God. Oh my, I don't really know I don't know where to start. Where do we start here? I don't know. I'm just trying to. Okay, so let's go to Ilhan's comments. The U.S. helped lead the devastation in Venezuela. Do I have to explain this again? Can I make it short for everybody who's here? Okay, so yes, that's a fact. They were on the come up when Hugo Chavez was there, and then we sanctioned the hell out of them because Hugo Chavez refused to let the bankers and the big corporations, aka the oligarchy, control the oil supply. And then when Hugo Chavez was trying to diversify their economy, because he knows as well as anyone else, except for America apparently, that oil cannot be the main economic tool of growth there, you got to do something about that. But that, you can't have a lot of oil and ambition, okay? You can't have a lot of oil and be economically ambitious when you're in the United States backyard. Just like Brazil wasn't allowed to have a lot of sugarcane and the entire Amazonian area and decide they were going to be economically ambitious. So we got to cripple your economy, you know? You got to throw some sanctions on you and then blame you for when you, of course, eventually suffer the results of those sanctions. So that's how that happened. So Ilhan Omar is actually and factually correct, 100%. But let's go to Mike Pence comments, which is, they're even more interesting, okay? These comments are emblematic of the deepest level of sheer stupidity and irony. I mean, sheer stupidity. Because I want you to think about something. He says, when he said, why did you respond to Ilhan Omar's comments on Twitter? And his response is, because the Congresswoman does not know what she is talking about. Okay? Y'all. He says, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a name of what we would call ethnic descent, most specifically Muslim descent. Okay? Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, the Muslim hijabi Somali refugee, okay? The Muslim hijabi Somali refugee displaced because of controversies that the United States policies of interventionism caused, doesn't know about the results of U.S. imperialism, y'all. Bruh. These people, listen, my motto, what's my motto? You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be intelligent to be a politician and to make it in America, people. In fact, it might hinder you from achieving your goals if you're intelligent, especially when it comes to politics, which is proven by the fact that somebody somewhere thought that Mike Pence has deserved to be a politician for this damn long. You gonna sit here in front of God and everybody, your God, not my God. My God is a loving God, is a peaceful God. Your God is apparently fucking crazy, okay? And sit here and tell once again, a Somali Muslim refugee who is a refugee because of the consequences of U.S. interventionism, that she has no idea what she is talking about when it comes to the consequences of U.S. interventionism. Pence, listen, I don't say this often because I don't like to be too divisive on my channel. Okay, that's a lot. I don't mind being divisive, but I don't like being unnecessarily divisive. But this is one of them times where I just got to sit your white ass down somewhere, dog. You come from butt crack of Indiana. Your entire state was damn near economically obliterated because of another form of U.S. interventionism, aka NAFTA and other disastrous trade policies. But it seems to me that Ilhan has a little bit more of an understanding and a little bit more experience when it comes to understanding exactly what happens when the United States intervenes. We just don't tend to make shit better, Pence. We don't. We don't. And it's interesting to me as well that Mike Pence couldn't even, like, what, bro, listen to that statement. What did he say about Maduro? Nicolas Maduro is a socialist dictator who has taken what was once one of the most prosperous nations in the world, or in the hemisphere, and brought it to literally to a level of deprivation and oppression and poverty that we have never seen. And that is not a result of U.S. policies. United States sanctions caused 40,000 deaths in Venezuela. That seems to be, and it's because of the poverty. It's because of the poverty. I don't know what you, what? Bruh, you hear how he said they were one of the most prosperous. He says socialist dictator Nicolas Maduro, who, by the way, was elected when Jimmy Carter said that Venezuela has the best election system in the world. Jimmy Carter said this. But he's a socialist dictator, okay? And he said they were one of the most prosperous nations in this hemisphere. And you know what? Mike Pence is right about that. Because after one of ours nearly destroyed Venezuela economically, this other guy got involved. And he stepped up His name was Hugo Chavez, and that man was what we would call a self-described socialist, people. And Mike Pence would be correct. Under Hugo Chavez, Venezuela became one of the most prosperous nations in the world. And as a matter of fact, because of that, we started sanctions on Venezuela. The reason that Maduro is being as demonized as he is right now isn't because his mustache is ugly. He kind of looks like Super Mario and he might be a mean person. I don't know. I don't know the guy. It isn't because of any of that. It's because Hugo Chavez at the time had the unmitigated gall. He had the nerve to help his country be successful and stand up for the working class. And he also held television shows where he gave out stuff for free. Now, Hugo Chavez was a personality. He was a personality. But it cannot be denied, nor is it denied by any international entity outside of the United States and a couple of our imperialist little butt buddies, that what Hugo Chavez was able to do with that economy was amazing. And furthermore, what Maduro was trying to continue would have been amazing had the United States not stepped in. And why is that? Well, for the same reason that when Nicolas Maduro left the petrodollar, we put them on what at the time was called the Muslim ban list. But we didn't put the entire country on the Muslim ban list. Oh no. You know who we put on the Muslim ban list? We just put all of their diplomats. So basically, anyone who could negotiate peace militarily or economically between the United States and Venezuela, we put them on a list and basically said, you can't come and negotiate peace anymore. I'm not quite sure if they say they care about people so much, if they say they care about the economy, if they say, well, we just want to give them the food. We just want to make sure that why can't all parties sit down and why can't we just hug it out and let Guaido and bruh, hold up, hold the phone, bro. You put them on a Muslim ban list. Look this up. They put Venezuelan diplomats, anyone who can negotiate peace, on a ban list so that they couldn't sit down with Trump. Because we know how that works out. Every now and then, someone could, they could appeal to Trump's common sense. Every now and then. And they couldn't have that. Now, you can say what you will about Maduro. Like I said, I honestly don't know the man. I don't pretend like when somebody is Assad an evil, brutal dictator. How am I supposed to know that? I know what the facts tell me. I don't know Assad. Well, you at least call him a war criminal. Has he stood in court? The only reason that people are using these words and that Pence, for example, in that comment was using these buzzwords, brutal, socialist, dictator, is because that's how propaganda works. That's how it works. It's that simple. Do you understand that when the White House is giving briefings and then these news stations are giving briefings on what they are and are not supposed to say, they are told you will say this phrase, these words over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to the point where we don't even know what they mean anymore or why we're saying them. And then the public will be, it's almost like I think it's called operant conditioning, where basically it's like a whistle is blown and we immediately react to the point where a lot of people feel like they have to have a qualifier before they say we shouldn't intervene in Venezuela. Like, what's the point of you saying, well, I know Maduro's a brutal dictator? How do you know that? Based off of what? Well, CNN told me. I don't know. I don't know how else to tell y'all this other than the 50,000 ways I've already said this. Listen, people. Any time that CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and Mike Pence and Donald Trump all agree on the same thing, you should just assume that it's a fucking lie. You should. You should assume that it is a lie. Because when has there ever in the history of lying ass politicians has Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Mike Pence, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News all agreed on anything and it turned out to be the truth? Name me one single time, bruh. Name me one time. If you're going to tell me that, like, I have a nuanced discussion, not in the way where you're trying to qualify whether or not we should go to Venezuela, but if you want to have a nuanced discussion about maybe Maduro isn't the best leader based off of a policy, because there may be a better person who understands economic policy better. Well, that is a discussion that we can absolutely have. And I would love to go on a bullet point by bullet point debate about that and learn something new. And who would be the best alternative? Because guess what? We could literally do that about every single leader in history and it would be okay. But whenever someone says, well, maybe you ever think, because they're like, well, we shouldn't, like the qualifiers, like, I think that even though Maduro's a brutal dictator, we shouldn't invade Venezuela. Hold up. What? No. You can't start off your sentence by somebody is a brutal dictator as if it is an assumed true fact, because it's interesting. I don't ever hear from those type of people, the ones who basically are kind of waking up, but they're still uncomfortable with stepping out of that zone of normalcy that their friends surrounding them are still in, because they don't know exactly all the details. So they don't want to be critiqued from a lack of knowledge. And it's not necessarily their fault. So they feel like they have to say that qualifier, but you don't have to. You know what you tell them? Oh, if he's a brutal dictator, what did he do? Well, he did this, and this. And almost every single time you can literally say, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. And there's plenty of facts to prove that. I mean, I'm friends with people on the ground. Abby Martin is on point. But she's not even the only one. And not to mention, at the end of the day, when and ever have any of these people told us the truth?